$20 million a year. What do you give a fuck that they make $20? Like, I don't care. In all honesty, I don't care if you guys want to flip it. I don't care if you want to keep it. I don't care. It's your life. I'm not here to tell you how to enjoy your life. And so if keeping it gives you joy, fine. If taking something and flipping it and making $40 so that you can take your wife or your girlfriend out or whatever for a dinner and that gives you joy, God bless you too. What do I care? I'm not here to tell you how to enjoy your life. And it's weird that people have more money than they're ever going to spend, are concerned that somebody might make $20. I actually think the opposite. If I let that 8-year-old kid make $20 off me, he'll be a fan for life. Like, what do I care? What do I care, that kid? It's odd. And so I'm at these shows, and they're getting $200 for that superstar athlete, and to the left is some washed-up celebrity, from a TV show, and they're charging $75. And they've got like 4 people in line, and they are always, I always notice them because they're always like snapping their head, and they see I got this giant line. I mean, to the point that security has to come. And then I can see that they bend over to their wranglers and going, and they're whispering. I know what they're whispering. Who's that he's got such a big line? And the answer is simple. I'm the guy giving it away for fucking free today. So what are you talking about? If you're walking by and you see a big line, you go, hey, there's a big line. This guy must be popular. How much it cost? It's free. I don't even know who he is, but you know what? It's free and it looks like he's popular. I'll get in line. People, what are you talking about? Any way I can spend 5 seconds with a new person is a potential chance that I can say hi, charm them, and maybe they'll be curious as to some of my other product. And you just build your audience sort of one handshake at a time instead of going, nah, I'm gonna get greedy. And oh, by the way, I now have the luxury. Steve has the luxury. We don't need the money, so we can even be even more generous. Right?
Yeah.
If OddKey only is a break-even proposition, which it should be, it should almost be like a nonprofit, and it goes for 20 years, and a bunch of other people are making all the money in the world. God bless it. God bless it. I don't care. I don't want it. I don't need it. So neither does Steve. So we want to create clones of ourselves that will go out there, and maybe a couple of them will remember and maybe help the next generation somewhere along the line, because otherwise, you got a bunch of business people in between that are going to try and skim.
That's amazing. Absolutely. Look, I'll say thank you so much for having me up as the first person. I'll jump down now and let someone else take over and ask a question. But look, I just want to say quickly before I go, I hope that this coming year, 2022, that we can see you in Australia. There's a bunch of us in here, a lot of Australians in here.
Yeah,
absolutely would be phenomenal. Even if you could just come down, not even for a convention, just come say hi.
Yeah. No, look, I was born in Canada, so we all used to be part years ago of the Commonwealth. So you and I have a little bit of DNA.
That's it. Again, thank you so much for your time. I greatly appreciate it.
All right. So does he go off on his own? Do I got to kick him off? Oh, he went good. Okay, now
it can be either or.
Now we've got invites sent to P33BZ, otherwise known as Fred. They coming up on stage or no?
You have to accept after you pull them. So you can't just pull up a bunch of random people. Like some people may.
No, I sent the invite, but they disappeared. I don't know what that means. So I'm going to go to the next one then until somebody jumps up on stage. I'm going to go to Devil Dog 32, invite to speak. I just sent it. Devil Dog, because he seems like he's badass with that name. So.
Devil Dog, get up here and represent. You're always active in the chat.
Oh, there's Devil Dog. He's on mute.
Can you speak, bud? Let's see. We can't hear you, Devil. Your Discord might have desynced. You're gonna have to restart the app and then come back up here, man, and we'll give you another.
Got all these people. Come on, you guys want to hear my voice? It's boring. Oh, hey, look at that Devil Dog. He's back. Let's see if because he just Devil Dog. If this doesn't work, we're gonna call you Boomer 2. I'm Boomer 1. You get to be Boomer 2. B2.
Let me just check some settings right quick. Let me see permissions.
Okay. Oh, here's one, VOCC. Let's see if VOCC can do it. All right, let's see. VO, you there?
You doing? You hear me?
I do.
There we go. Delicious. How is everyone?
Killing it. And if it wasn't, I'd lie to you. So.
It's great to hear from you, Todd. Uatu, you already know, baby. You beautiful mama yaga you.
Where are you from? Before you get on stage here, where are you from?
I'm from Queens, New York.
Okay, good to meet you.
Yes, thank you. My question was, and I tried asking you earlier, an answer, or you were unsure, but I'm very curious. When would the next time to meet you? When would be? Oh my God, I can't even word this right. Excuse me.
In person?
Yes. When would I be able to meet you in person? When it would be your next showing? When would you come to New York the next time, if you would ever come?
Wow. Yeah, I don't know. It's an unknown. I would have to say it's an unknown. I mean, March of 2020, I sent everybody home from my office, and we're still out of the office, a year and a half later. And when you think you're going to come back and things are going to go, and you start making plans, and then you read a headline. I don't know if you guys saw the other day that, Germany had its worst day since the pandemic started. Not in the 5 months, not in since the beginning. They had their worst day, right? And so you like all of a sudden you go, come on, and they're starting to call it a fourth wave, and you go, and so just every time we try to make plans, I'm not saying anything that anybody else here hasn't gone through. Just when you think, oh, this is going to be it, right? We're going to get back to some kind of normality, then all of a sudden that it just like, it doesn't work, right? So and then we got to try it all over again. So that basically it's a long-winded way of saying I don't know. I mean, I didn't go to the New York I didn't go to the New York Comic Con, although I talked to people who did, some of my creative friends, and they felt pretty good about it, and they said that it seemed like it was run and everybody was pretty respectful, and it felt sort of safe and whatever. But at its core, I got to tell you, I'm a bit of a homebody, right? So you wouldn't know that if you saw me at a show, because I'm having a good time, but I have the attitude, if I'm going to be at the party, we're going to have a good time. But otherwise, I'd rather just sort of hang out with my dear wife and stay at home and go for walks. So I'm pretty boring.
No, that's beautiful. Honestly, I do just about the same. I'm a line cook here in New York City, so anytime I get with my beautiful girlfriend is a phenomenal experience. But yeah. I'm happy that I'm in the Discord. I'm happy that Mr. Uatu brought me in. I love this man. This is my homie. Same goes for everyone in the Watchers CC. It's beautiful people. Thank you so much for
Devil Dog.
giving me the time, man.
Devil Dog, before you go, let me just say it's pretty easy for all of us to be beautiful because you can't see any of our faces. So it may be a false positive. So just keep that in mind.
Oh, absolutely.
I got nice hair.
Yeah, right, Uatu looks like beautiful Jesus. Oh, and I'm VO, by the way, Mr. Todd.
Oh, VO, excuse me. Yeah, VO, you'd be good.
Absolutely. Thank you for having me up here. I'm going to jump down, give somebody else the chance to speak. Thank you so much for having me again.
All right, be good. So let's go back to Devil Dog. Let's see if he's done it.
Can you guys hear me?
Look at him. He's in the house.
Devil.
Yeah. All right. So, Todd, I just wanted to say, you and Steve bringing this project together, I'm so glad that I heard about it at the beginning, and it reignited my passion for art and comics and music. Graphic artist and a photographer, so if you guys need any help, I want to help out as much as I can for the community on Discord. And y'all, just keep doing amazing things.
Well, we will. I appreciate the kind words, Devil Dog. Here's what I also understood very early in my career, that without the fans, we are nothing. we're self-indulging, right? So I remember when I go to shows, I still do it today. I'll shake people's hands and I'll say thank you, and a lot of them will go, why are you thanking me? I'm like, what? Because each one of you at some point has given some of your hard-earned money in my direction. It's allowed me to have a career and feed my family. So, like, why am I saying thank you?
Yeah.
You're giving me a life. So, I mean, in return, I guess I've done some stuff that you've enjoyed. So hopefully it becomes a win-win at that situation. But I've always been somewhat amused and a bit confused when I've been around celebrities, bigger celebrities, way bigger. And they seem to be bothered by their fan base. And it's like fans are a nuisance. And it's like, what are you talking about? Without the fans, none of us, I don't care if you're a movie or music or you're an athlete, like none of us, we're nothing. We're nothing without them. And it's frustrating to me that they don't sort of, all it takes is 5. I'm not saying you have to invite everybody if you're at dinner to your dinner table, right? That's not gonna work very well.
Right.
But it only takes 5 seconds, 10 seconds to just say, even if you don't want to be bothered, say, hey, I'm having dinner, but you know what? When you see me get up later, if you want to come back, even if you just say that, right? So you're giving them a little bit of the ground rules. But if not, if you're walking down the street and somebody wants to take a picture and a selfie or whatever, a quick autograph, like I don't know why that's a problem. I don't know that's a problem, but
I tell you what, I didn't start collecting comics until Spawn #1. And one of my best friends, he was a big fan, and he said, man, you've got to get it. So I went the day or two, maybe it was a day or two after it came out, and I went and bought a copy, and it changed my life because I saw something different in it. The art really spoke to me. And so I'm really honored and humbled that I'm speaking to one of the greatest comic book artists of all time.
Well, you sound like my mom. So all I would say is, I hope you go procreate and make them all fans. So,
yes.
So if you could make about 3 million more babies just like you, it would be super awesome. So.
Nice.
Don't tell him that.
Oh, that's a lot of pressure on your wife. So, yeah.
Oh yeah. We've got 3, so. But I really appreciate it.
No. Oh, let me tell you, I got 3 kids, so I'm going to tell you, for any of you who don't have kids, my sort of quick theory about it. You know how this is because you had 3 of them. When you had 1, that was sort of easy because you get to play, I'm going to use sports analogy, you get to basically double man them, right? So nobody ever gets any long touchdowns when you basically double team them, right? Shit, you got that one down. Mm-hmm. Then the second one comes along, and now all of a sudden you're playing man-to-man, right? Okay, you take that one, I got that one. But the moment you got to go to zone defense, right? So there's 3 of them, and there's only 2 of you. Shit, that's a whole nother ball game.
You're exactly right.
The score starts to be like, there's no more tight games. The score gets really high. So to me, once you got 3 or you got 13, you're in zone defense. They got you beat at that point, and it's a different game. So here we go. So you guys know what it's like. You're just going, 2 sets of eyes and 3 human beings. There's going to be trouble. So.
That was a good analogy too.
Thank you, Todd. Thank you for allowing me to talk to you, and you have a great evening.
Okay, be good.
I just wanted to talk about how the whole your whole premise of trying to make it important to allow a bunch of people to get a hold of it. That's what I'm kind of worried about. On VB, these comics. I know once the floodgates come in and this mass adoption of NFTs, it's just going to be kind of hard for people to, be able to grab these things and enjoy these classic comics and relive these, the nostalgia. And I just think it's really exciting. And I appreciate
like I said, again, to be fair, I'm sure we will skin our knees and make plenty of mistakes along the way. So hopefully you guys will continue to give us your opinions. Not that we can accommodate everybody, but you listen to the voices somewhat.
Are you going to bring back classic older comics out again in NFT form? Is that work? Because this is just all really.
I don't know. Like I said, I don't really. As I sit here, I don't really know what the future holds because we haven't made the offers, right? And so I'm sort of curious to try 3 or 4 things and just see if there's more of a and then start migrating a little bit, and then say, well, what if we added this or did a little bit of that, and just sort of to me this is just this is a big experiment, and I'm hoping that somewhere along the line we have a couple happy accidents that will, in hindsight, make us sort of look like we knew what we were doing, right? I mean, I've told the story that the character of Venom is literally a complete accident. It was like there was no prior knowledge, there was no skill, there was no us being smart. I just didn't want to draw Peter Parker with a black costume. So, I did this design for them and said, hey, why don't we just put the costume on another guy? I thought it was a monster. I didn't know it was going to be Eddie Brock. And I drew the monster and I put the costume on and whatever else. And I go, here, and now we can get the costume off Peter Parker, because I didn't want to draw Peter Parker in a black costume. And that was it. That was this guy now who generates over $1 billion for Disney and Marvel and Sony with their movies. It is simply exists now because some 25-year-old punk named Todd decided he wasn't going to listen to his editors and draw Peter Parker the way he had been for the last 10, 12 issues, which was him in the black costume. And I go, no, shit, I'm not going to draw that. Like, screw that. I want to draw Spider-Man in the red and blue. And that was it. And so the byproduct of that is Venom. And so I only bring that story up because I'm hoping that there might be sort of those Venom accidents, if you will, in this NFT space. That as we sit here today, we will have no idea that we did something somewhere along the line that actually maybe takes hold and eventually resonates with the audience. And then if it does, we'll get a lot of credit for it, but we'll know in the back of our mind, just like I did with Venom, that I wasn't that smart. The writer, David Mcfarlane, we weren't that smart at the beginning. We were just dumb luck. So dumb luck can be very potent at the right time. So.
I'm excited. I'm really excited, and you got a lot of tough decisions coming at you. So, but I'm sure some other people have some questions now. I don't see any hands down there.
They're up on stage here. I got Foundry and I've got Danik. Danik been up there for a while. Let's go to Danik.
Yeah, go for Danik.
Where are you at? Calgary. You're in Calgary right now? Calgary is where I was born. No, my wife and I. Yeah, yeah, it's cool. Yeah, the just so people. Toronto, they're saying that it's the 4th biggest one. So if you guys, I know you guys think of Canada as a little itty bitty place, but man, they're rabid up there, folks. So just as much as you're rabid wherever you're at, they're rabid up there. So. Wow, you're going way back. Nope. Uh, well, yeah. Well, the thing that is part of what sort of keeps me going is trying to be this cheerleader again for other creators. I've had a good long life. I'm sort of let me tell you, ladies and gentlemen, I appreciate you guys all being here. I'm bored of Todd, right? And part of it is because of everybody. I don't get to turn me off at the end of this chat. I have to sort of be around that guy 24 hours a day. So and no matter what I'm saying, I already know the story, so I can't even tell a story that's new. So what's way more interesting to me is to see sort of the talent coming up behind me and watching it and wanting it to flourish. And the reason I say that is not because I'm a saint or anything like that. None of that. I just remember how hard that journey was for a kid from Calgary, Alberta, Canada, trying to break into big mainstream comic books in New York City, which is where Marvel Comic Books was at that point. And just knowing that it was a slosh, and it took years to get there. And now I see these sort of efficiencies that are in the world, especially with technology, that maybe flattened that steep hill just a little bit. I mean, it's still hard to, and I would argue it could possibly even be harder now because I wasn't competing against the world, right? Once the internet came, now you're competing against the world. I only have to be as good as, for the most part, people in North America. Now, if you want a job at Marvel, DC, any place else, you have to be as good as sort of somebody in the entire globe. So probably the odds are even harder. So if the odds are going up, then what moves can we do? Some of us have had a good life to basically maybe lower that percentage of breaking through for the next 22-year-old Todd, the next 22-year-old Steve Aoki, whoever, right? We all were there, and we know that the great fun was at the beginning of it, and although we appreciate our careers and we're still having fun, you know, it puts a big smile on our face when we think about those first 3 years. So if we can create any kind of lane for that, for anybody, anywhere, any place, whether it's in a year from now, 2, 3, 4, I don't know, then that'd be super awesome. And if along the way I sell a bunch of NFTs and make a gob of money, okay, right? I mean, okay, it'll just help fund some of this, but I know I'll get way more joy out of finding a kid in Spain who's now basically the hottest kid on the planet doing some cool thing that we can't even imagine as we're sitting here right now. Yeah, yeah, and I'll give you one of the big examples, but it happened, and it's a giant example. Is that we started our company, and at that time in 1992, there was a young kid sitting in Kentucky, you know, just starting to collect comic books, just getting mesmerized by comic books. Eventually, he decides he wants to go to a couple shows. He ends up talking to one of the partners and drives him to the airport and whatever else, and keeps in touch with him. Eventually, that partner says, "Yeah, okay, hey, you're a writer. You know, I'll give you a job here or there." That guy is Robert Kirkman. He ends up being the guy who creates The Walking Dead, and not only did he create The Walking Dead, which is a phenomenal success, but he brings it to Image Comic Books, and we don't get his image. We don't get his Walking Dead money. He gets it. We don't. If he goes and makes a movie or a T-shirt or a hat or a toy, we don't get it. He gets it. So that was the spirit of it from the very beginning. And then, you know, because he was so devout to the process, today, that for all I know is going to be, you know, partners in OddKey after they basically set the world on fire, right? And oh, by the way, if they set it on fire, they get to keep 99% of it. Like, what are you talking about? It's them. It's them. Right? Steve and I have our own money. We don't want your money, right? We just need to take a little bit so that we can keep the doors open, so that we can keep the publishing house alive. That's it. That's how much does that cost? We got to try and figure out if we can sustain that. And if we do that, that's a victory, right? Like a nonprofit. To me, this is just in a weird way like starting up a nonprofit. So. Yeah. Yeah. Well, I'll say one. I'll say one last thing here as I've gotten older. Like when I was younger, I used to begrudge corporate America, right? They were the evil empire, right? I don't see that. I don't see that anymore. I as a CEO now for 30 years, what I see is they're in a company, and they're the people that run it. They have a job, and they're tasked with a fiduciary responsibility, which basically means that they must basically protect the company and bring value to the shareholders. And they're just doing their job, right? And the corporation makes $1 billion, and it's just trying to protect that. What drives us artists crazy is we got these ideas, and I think in the back of our mind, we think, because we're a little bit cocky, which is okay. Yeah, but if you do this, you might make $2 billion, right? We're always like, it's rosy and whatever else, and part of it is because we're not spending their money. But because of that caution that they now have, because they have to make sure that they keep that value, that caution allows gaps and tiny cracks. And I've spent my last 30 years, almost all my career, finding those gaps and squeezing through them. So, keep it up, corporation. Keep doing what you're doing, because it gives me a little bit of a roadmap to know where to go, because I know where you won't go. And more importantly, I know that you can't move fast enough to react to some of this stuff, which is, my company is not very big, and it's my blessing and my curse, right? That you're not big enough to compete with the big guys. But given the size is my blessing and the curse, I would equally apply that to big giant corporations. Their blessing and their curse is that they are so big, so they have more people, more resources, more outlets to do stuff. But because that structure is so big, it doesn't turn very fast. It doesn't move very fast. And that's the advantage. So now I go, oh, when you're going against the giants, you can be quicker than them. That's a plus. So I've been trying to take advantage of the stealthness, if you will, of the size of my company against the giants, and they haven't been able to slay me, right? So I'm not trying to slay them, but they're 1,000 times bigger, and they can't slay me, and shame on them. It's not that David can't kill the giant. It's why can't the giant kill David? Because you're 1,000 times bigger, right? So I don't know. If I was Godzilla, it seems like I could squish them, but they can't, because when they move the leg up to stomp you, it goes so slow, and then it comes down that by the time they stomp where you were standing, you're like 2 blocks down the street. So that's it. That's how I've survived. Now we get to Foundry. We've been waiting in line.
Hey,
what are you doing?
Hey, yeah, Todd. Sorry, you're gonna have to bear with me here. I broke my jaw on Monday, so my voice is gonna sound like I'm chewing on something, or like a little scrambled.
I've had plenty of oral surgery the last year and a half, and even before that, I've got this weird mumble that is indigenous to no place, that is sort of like Homer Simpson meets Rocky Balboa. So don't worry about it.
I feel you there. Thank you. Well, yeah, really. First, I want to kind of ask. I'm curious what you think. I heard when you were saying, part of the reason you got into this with Steve and is because you don't know, about how this is gonna turn out or what this is gonna do. So I'm curious, like, as in, you're an outsider as a comic book artist and also as like a writer and very much a maverick in a lot of ways. And I think you can see that this is an opportunity for a lot of those kind of people to get center stage and to really take some big creative risks, even within your field or your medium, with whether it's comics or music. You were talking about, Steve. And I'm wondering, what do you think this kind of technology or this opportunity will do for the content? Like, what kind of content do you think we'll be seeing potentially going forward as a result of something like this?
I'd like to lower expectations that, Steve and I don't have all the answers and we're not geniuses and we're not going to turn everything up on its ear. It's more of wanting to just try things. But if you're spending your own money, and I've said this before in business classes where they're always like, spend somebody else's money. I disagree. I wholeheartedly disagree. I think you should always spend your own money because then you can do whatever you want, good, bad, or indifferent. Let me also say, right? So if you spend your own money, you can go and get that T-shirt that's about 2 sizes too small that basically makes you look like you're bulging out. But if you think you look good in the mirror, damn it, that's you, and it's your money, and you get to wear that damn shirt, right? And nobody gets to make any sort of fun at you. The moment you start taking somebody else's money, they get input, and then what they do is depending on as the number gets bigger of money, then a little bit of caution because they don't want to get too radical. They basically lose being fearless. And if you use your own money and you don't care about losing it, then you can be as fearless as possible, which basically means that at any time you're in a room, you can turn to the people and say, hey, I had this crazy idea. Like, could we do this? Or what about this? Or you open it up to the people that are in the room saying, anybody got a crazy idea? And you may stumble across something because you're not putting any limitations on yourself before you even begin, right? It has to be A, B, and C. So I'm trying to keep that here, that I don't want to have a preconceived notion of what an NFT has to be yet. I mean, we may get there. Who knows? It may start to become a little more clear in 2, 5, 10 years. I don't know. But for right now, it's not. And I don't want to even pretend to self-edit myself. So what are we going to come up with? It probably won't be overly dazzling to start with. We'll probably do some fairly, obvious stuff at the beginning, and then we'll experiment and we'll go. But depending on the roadmap and the reaction we get from people, then we'll start to turn up the heat a little bit and probably say, hey, well, if they like that, why don't we add this other piece to it and do this? And what about if we did this little twist? And oh, by the way, a year from now, there's this new thing that everybody's reacting to. We add that. And I don't know. You just, there's a Molotov cocktail that is yet to be thought of that I'm hoping will just, as I keep saying, will be that happy accident that we come up with potentially, down the line. So I don't want to sound evasive about it, but I also don't want to overthink it and say, hey, we got to come up with, this super elaborate new thing, and people don't understand it. I've tried that before. Let me just say, I've tried it before. And sometimes if you come up with something that's a little bit too different, then you have to spend a lot of time on the education part of it as to why it's cool. And if it just doesn't take hold, then maybe there was a 3-step to get there instead of jumping all the way to that one place at that time. But I don't know. Well, Steve and I have been bouncing a lot of ideas around. Hopefully, like I said, some of them will be of interest to some people?
Oh yeah, no, I totally get it. Yeah. Well, honestly, just so much thanks for. I mean, I love both you and Steve. You guys are legends. Just before I go, I gotta say I'm a huge fighting game fan. And the moment I saw that Spawn was going into Mortal Kombat 11, I lost it. I was like, it's time. I've been waiting since Soul Calibur. It's like it's time, and I think I love everything about that character, that era, and everything that I think you've done for
So let's talk about that just for 1 second. So when I made the deal with them, because we were going to make the toys and go, hey, put them in the video game. I make the toys, be cool. They were coming back to me, and at first I thought they were being a little bit too loyal to the character, right? And so I remember having a conversation with them, saying, guys, here's what I want. Here's what I want out of my character in Mortal Kombat. I don't want you to basically worry about offending Todd. Like I'm way past that. I'm too old for that. What I want you to do is I want you to make the wickedest character you possibly can for your Mortal Kombat fans who have never heard the word Spawn. That's what I want you to do with them. So that somebody who doesn't care one iota about anything I've ever done, but has been devout with Mortal Kombat, sits there and goes, oh my God, there's this new character. His name is Prawn or Spam or something. I forget what his name is. But when I play him, fuck, that dude's badass. He's my favorite. He's my favorite. And then somebody a month later says, hey, do you know that's a comic book character? And they're going, what? What are you talking about? He's a Mortal Kombat guy. No. And if you can do that, I was talking to their design team. If you can do that, and I don't care what you have to do to get to that. So if you have to add or design something that has never been seen in the Spawn comic book, you have my blessing. As a matter of fact, if you don't do it, I'm going to be angry. I need you to push it. I need you to push it, and make him the best character in your game. I'll make him the best character in my comic book when I'm doing the comic book. Don't worry about it. They don't have to match up 100%. Don't worry about it. So that was it. Make a kick-ass guy. And once I said that, then they were like, are you sure? Yeah. And they were off to the races. And, I'll give them the trust that they know their audience way better than I do. And they did what they had to do.
That's just awesome. All right. I'll leave the floor to somebody else, but thank you again so much. You guys are awesome. All
right. You be good. We're going to bring in Big Bad Al Simmons, because Al Simmons, I've seen him on the server here. He likes to come. I don't even think he sleeps. He might even actually be a bot.
Man, he passed me. He a bot a lot. Takes one to know one, huh?
Yeah, I'm just like, I come in a little bit here and there, but like every time I come, he's there, and I'm just like, so he might actually have a cloning machine too. So, but the invite has been sent. He's been waiting in line, and his opportunity comes up. So maybe he is a bot because he didn't accept it. So we're going to the next person. Here we go. King of Sins. Oh, Simmons is in the house. So, or in the room. So it's a weird thing. It's and I'm sadly I'm at the age where I got a lot of older friends, and I hear that sort of refrain of those young kids, why don't they get off my grass sort of attitude, and I can't be a part of it. I can't be part of that conversation because let me just tell you right now, if somebody had given me a cell phone when I was 8, I would have fucking burnt that thing out, and I would have probably had to get like eye surgery. I would have been as addicted to it as any other human being. So I understand that moms and dads get sort of, worked up, mostly the moms. But to me, I'm just going, well, how do you know? How do you know that they're not doing exactly what we did? We used to read books, but we had to go to the library. Well, now the book is on the phone. We used to look and take pictures and look at our photo albums, but we had to go into the desk and get the photo album. But now it's on the phone. We used to watch TV, but now it's on the phone. We used to call people, but now it's on the phone. We used to write letters, but now it's on the phone. The thing is that somebody's just consolidated all of these actions that we all did. We used to play games, but now it's on the phone or a tablet or whatever else. It's been consolidated into one spot, listening to music. And so if I have one fear, being a parent, it's not the consolidation of it, because it's like they're just doing what we do. It's that at least when I had to go to the library and then go to this other place and go to this other place, I had to actually physically move, right? So my bigger fear is, if you've seen the movie WALL-E, are we like at the beginning of WALL-E, right? That it's like, because I do this with my kids. I'll be in the airport, and I'm going to go off on a tangent here. I'll be in the airport, and I'll be with my family, and I'll be going up the stairs, and I'll be carrying the luggage. And the kids are like, Dad, why are you going up the stairs? And, the luggage has wheels. Yeah, no, I know it has wheels, and I know there's an elevator. But this one flight of stairs where I'm carrying 2 bags, it's going to be the only fucking exercise I'm going to get today. Because here's how the world works. I live in Phoenix, Arizona. I could say I'm going to New York City, and this is how it would work. I go to bed and I sleep for 8 hours. Not really high impact sleeping. Then I'd get up, and then I'd get in a car and I'd sit and do nothing, and it would drive me to the airport. And then I'll park my car, and then I'll get in the elevator, and the elevator take me up 8 floors. I don't got to go up floors. I don't got to climb stairs. I just got to go up. And then when I get out of the elevator, I got to take an escalator up one more. And then once I get through security, I get to go on a moving walkway. And then after I get on the moving walkway, I get to go on an airplane. I get to sit on my ass for 5 hours till I get to New York. And then I get to reverse it. Moving walkway, escalator, elevator, get in a taxi, Uber, go to the hotel, check in. They put me on the 47th floor. And I go from Phoenix, Arizona to New York City, and I bet 114 calories max to get country to country. But here's the problem. While I was burning that 114 calories, somebody gave me a Coke that has 250 calories while I was sitting on my ass on that airplane. I actually went in reverse that day, right? Shoot. It's actually detrimental to my health to go across the country now. So I'm aware that that everything is so convenient, even the luxury of moving. So I think we need to be aware a little bit of like moving our bodies, because this technology is so awesome that I could sit in my chair, which I do sometimes, and I just go, shoot, I get to enjoy the whole day here in my chair, and I experience everything that I want pretty much, and I didn't move my ass. And then I'm like, man, how come you don't look so good in the mirror, Todd? Right. So anyways, other than that, technology, God bless it. Delivery mechanisms, God bless it. Changes in the way that the youth get into it. NFT to me is no different than when I was younger and rap music was coming. Mm-hmm. There were some people that were in it and they dug it, but for the most part, especially the older people and the people that didn't know it and listened to nothing but top 40, they were just going, it doesn't make any sense. It's not even music. It's not, and they just resisted, and they resisted it, but it was coming in spite of you folks. It's coming. And this is just, NFT is just digital rap. It's here to stay.
Mm-hmm. Well, that's an amazing response. I totally
It was all a lie. So
okay.
don't make it too.
I take it all back.
I made it all up. So.
I can totally relate, though, when you say that you just wanted to bring a community of people together. It was probably like 3 weeks ago. I went back. Well, I was actually mad at my uncle because he sold a bunch of his Spawn figures and he didn't tell me. And it just unlocked this whole like nostalgic memory in my brain of when I was a kid. I used to watch Spawn, and I have all these comics in the attic. I went and brought the comics down. I watched Spawn, like the movie, and I'm going through the series right now. I joined this server a few days ago, and I did not expect to see how big of a community Spawn actually was. And I really appreciate the opportunity to be among like-minded folks. And even if I don't get an NFT or anything, I'll just spend more money on figures and comics and still feel as good at the end of the day. So I'm very
people of like mind enjoying it. So I sort of going to rock concerts are cool. You got a bunch of people jamming to the same tune, so it's okay. I thought you were going to say your uncle sold your collection of toys. I'm like, wow.
Oh no, never.
All right. Well, good talking to you. Where are you at? Before you go, tell us where you're at.
I am outside of Syracuse, New York.
Syracuse, New York. Good for you. All right. Good talking to you.
Yeah, you too. Everyone have a good night.
All right. We're going to Big Bad Al Simmons, see if you can figure this one out. Pressure's on, Al.
Hey, good evening. Can you guys hear me?
We can.
We can. Al, first off, are you a bot? Just say it out loud. Yes or no?
I am not a bot, Todd.
Okay. Because every time I look, you're there. I'm like, holy shoot. So he's way more ambitious. He's more ambitious than me.
I've just been lucky. I've had some time off of work. It's all about timing, Todd.
Oh.
That's it. I have a normal job like everybody else. I just happen to have those days off, federal holidays, stuff like that.
Oh, okay.
All right. So I'm going to do a few quick shout outs to my veterans, to my service members. Thank you for your service. Devil Dog, I know you're down there. Thank you for what you do. For the mods, you guys are doing an incredible job. The watchers, everybody, you guys are doing a good job. The community here is amazing. I want to say that yesterday was kind of a special day. I don't know if a lot of people noticed it, but Todd, was saying some stuff out there. He was extremely happy about his daughter. I'm a father, so to me this is kind of special. So he was proud of his daughter becoming a lawyer or graduating and all that kind of stuff, saying that he can get away with some stuff now. And then towards the end of the night, he was saying that he had to take off. And he specifically said he was going to go see his son on Twitch. And I'm like, what? To me, watching somebody play video games is an awkward thing because I'm a gamer. And my son does it, and I find it so weird. My son's 9 years old, and he watches people playing video games instead of playing video games. But yesterday, I decided I just wanted to go over there to check it out. So Todd was there watching his son playing video games, and I thought, how cool is that? That's like dad going to a baseball game, gonna watch his kid playing video games. I thought that was really cool. As a father, like I said, I have a 9-year-old, I have a 3-year-old. And that was pretty special. Next year, I'm probably going to be gone all of next year. I'm going to be deploying overseas. So I thought, you know what? That's what I'm going to do. When I'm overseas, when I get the opportunity, I'm going to jump on Twitch and watch my son play video games. So I thought that was pretty cool.
Yeah, well, I saw you came over there. Let me give you something that, I think this is true for all of us. There are things that our parents do or family members do or people that our friends do that make an impact on us that person doesn't know or will never have any idea that they made an impact. And here's how you know that. Go up to your kids at any time, for those of you who have kids or whatever, and ask them, say, what's your fondest memory of mom or dad or whatever? And they'll tell you something that for the most part, the mom and dad really don't remember. Right? Because it wasn't that big of a deal to mom and dad, but somehow it meant something to them. So the thing was for me, when I was 16 and I was collecting comic books, and I was always sort of an art doodler or whatever else. And Dad saw that I was collecting comic books and I had been talking about it, going, I'm going to teach myself this style called American superhero comic books. I'm going to do it. And without asking, that Christmas, 16. And so I'm not a kid. I'm 16. I opened up my gift on Christmas Day, and it was a drawing board. So, and mom and dad I probably don't even remember they bought it, right? Because it was like, we had 4 kids, so we buying gifts every year. There's gifts and birthdays. I probably don't even remember it. But it mattered to me that I said I wanted to be an artist, and instead of them saying, you need to go to school and become an engineer and whatever else and make a living the normal way, they basically, it was like saying, I want to play baseball, and there'd be a glove, a glove underneath the tree, because I needed the tool. I drew on that desk all the way until I got a Wacom tablet and it wouldn't hold it, whatever else. Every page of Spider-Man, every page of Hulk and Batman and Spawn was drawn on that desk. I still have it. I still have that desk. It's at my summer house up in Canada there. And that one moment of them supporting me, although they were just being parents and it wasn't a big moment, like it helped. It helped. So I never know that me dropping in again on my kid, Jake, for 5 minutes, 10 minutes at 11 o'clock at night or 12 o'clock at night, again, it's not my favorite thing, let me say, but, he seems to enjoy the odd time I go in there and I banter around a little bit with people and whatever. And some of them are like, why don't you let your dad come in here anyways? So sometimes he gets in trouble. He's got his dad on there. But I don't know. Maybe it might matter. Because what I'm not saying to him, what his mom's not saying to him is, why are you playing video games? Don't you got anything else better to do? Right? That's I don't know. I don't know where that's helpful. I don't know where that's helpful. So let him just enjoy what he wants to enjoy for now. He'll figure it out. If he's not getting proper sleep and, he's doing whatever, missing going to work or whatever the things are, he'll figure it out. Just like we all figured it out. So he's 22, is my youngest at 22. Like, what are you doing? Right? Just go, right? Go. My daughter, look, I'm not proud. I am that she passed the bar exam yesterday because that was a big day for her. She put 8 years of her life into that. Not that she became a lawyer, because again, I become a cliche. One of my daughters is a doctor, and I got a lawyer. I wanted them all to take over the toy business because I think cheap plastic goods is an honor side to take to it, though. What I'm most proud of her is that passing degree allows her to officially now get a job, because she's been working at it for 2 or 3 months in Los Angeles at the public defender's office. She doesn't want to become a lawyer so she can make a bunch of money and drive a Rolls Royce. She wants to work at a place that basically people can't afford to defend themselves, and the system is somewhat tilted against them. And that's what she wants to make her career out of. She's not using it as a stepping stone. She's fighting for those less fortunate, because she understands that she's had a pretty good life living in the same house as mom and dad. And now that she's been afforded the luxury of being a lawyer, she will make a decent living, although public defenders don't make as much as a lot of other lawyers, but she doesn't care. And that she's going to go out there and help others. My older daughter studied to be, some of the courses that make you Doctors Without Borders. Again, not so you can drive a Maserati and be a plastic surgeon, but so that you can help others that are less fortunate. So, I told him I didn't really say a lot of things. Mom did most of the teaching. Let me just tell you, right? I only had a couple things. One was never speak out of ignorance, right? So that's not very becoming. If you don't know, don't talk about it, right? Just doesn't make you look good. Number two, never blame anybody else for your own actions, right? I don't ever want to hear you say somebody made you do something. It's just not true. Nobody has power over your body and your thought. You do. So I'm not saying that guy didn't deserve a punch in the face. I'm not saying that. But you don't get to blame it on him that he made him. You chose to punch him in the face. Own it. Own it. And number three, be good people. Be good people. I'd rather you be a janitor and good people than to be an asshole doctor. I'd be more proud of you on the first one. So that was it. So now that they're old enough and they're sort of getting there and they're doing some of that stuff, I'm like, cool, because they're in a position now that they can help others. It's good. I don't know. We've been very fortunate. We've been very fortunate. So I think we have this collective mind of when you do good, you share with others. Simple, which is a little bit of the whole sort of thing I was talking with Steve Aoki about. I go, look, if we can't figure out a way to open up the doors to others, I'm not interested. If this is just about you and I making money, I'm not interested, Steve. I got money. I got fame. I've got it all. I'm bored of it. How do we do something else? How do we encourage the next wave and give them an opportunity? If we can figure that out, then you and I can have a serious conversation. And luckily, he was of the same mindset. So, done. I'm done with my sermon.
Well, thank you so much for that. Like I said, I think that was really special. You know, as a parent, to see that pride with your daughter and with your being there for your son was a very special moment for me. I thought, as a father. So I thought that was really cool.
And I thought you had some pretty sassy comments in the chat room. So
I will say that your commentary, Todd, is hilarious. I love it. I think that's the funny. It's so great. I appreciate how witty you are. Again,
no, it's not. Look, I'm going to tell you what's even super cool about modern day chat rooms. It's not even that I'm not witty. I just type up nonsense, and it's like I get credit for being funny because I just go, wow, you can say anything on here. This is awesome. Somebody asked me something the other day, and then I think my answer was, yeah, and I don't like broccoli. And they were like, ugh, ugh. And I'm like, wow, I can just put a vegetable down and they think I'm witty? Wow, I can't do that in real life. They're going, what are you fucking talking about, broccoli, Todd? That was my question. So God bless the way you guys talk in chat rooms, because none of it has to make any sense. So I can actually have Alzheimer here pretty soon, and I'll still look pretty good to all you guys. So,
well, I honestly wasn't going to come up here and ask anything. I actually wasn't going to talk at all, but I had one of the fellow members. He's not a day one guy or whatever, but he reached out to me because he wanted to ask a question, but he couldn't because he wasn't a day one. So I saw the message, and I'm going to ask the question for him.
So he's line cutting. He's line cutting in front of King of Sin right now, is what you're saying.
Say it again.
Okay. He's cutting in line in front of King of Sin, who's been waiting. Okay.
Okay. Well, this is the question. CT Skyfire asks, what was the original idea of Spawn, or what was his original idea of Spawn, and was he always supposed to go to Hell's Army?
No, so the idea of Spawn, I'm going to bore you, and people are going to go, oh my God, Todd, get over yourself. Here's. Let me just give you a couple sort of pieces of information. My wife's name's Wanda, and so it's not an accident that the wife in Spawn comic books named Wanda. I started dating my wife when she was 13 years old. We dated for 7 years, and we got married. So we've been together for well over 40 years, right? She is the oxygen of my life, right? So, I mean, loving my wife is as easy as breathing. So this whole thing was when I was 16, because I was just starting to date my wife. Was I have this theory, and I want this theory to be true, and if it's not true, don't break at anybody. If you had somebody that you loved and you were in a relationship and you loved them, but you both got up in the morning on the wrong side of the bed, and for whatever reason you had a moment of conflict, and and just as you're walking out the door to go to work or something, you know, she says, yeah, well, you go to hell. And you go, oh, yeah, well, you too, fuck you. And you close the door and you leave on those terms. And then you're driving to work and all of a sudden, bam, you get blindsided and a truck basically takes you out and you are dead. I have to believe, I don't care what your religious persuasion is, I don't care what you think about is there after you die. Nobody is going to want to leave the earth with the last words to the person you love the most has been, fuck you. Nobody. That would haunt you for eternity if that happened. So if in a blink of an eye somebody said to you, hey, you can go say goodbye one last time and make it right, just one last time, say I'm sorry and give her a kiss, and then you go, and now you're dead. I have to believe at my core, every one of us as a human being would take that deal. And that's just it. So we wouldn't read the fine print. We would just go, yes, I don't want to leave on these terms, and we would take it. And he took that. And oh, by the way, the end result was should have read the fine print. comes back 5 years. He's got all these superpowers, the whole world now, and he's got all these sort of things coming at him. And that's all the fantasy comic book part. But at his core, that was it. That was his. That's why he exists, because he had somebody he cared about, and he just wouldn't let her go on a bad note. I think all of us would make the same deal. And I just have been able to stretch that idea out for 300 issues. Although his wife now is dead in the comic book, so now he's even more adrift, if you will. So.
Thank you, Todd, so much.
Yeah, I'll just sort of add to that story. I knew Stan Lee very, 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 very well. Probably, I've said it before, nobody has argued the point that I've been on stage with him more than any other human being, especially in the last 10, 12 years of his life. His wife, Joni, passed away just a few weeks before, about a month or something like that, before their 70th anniversary. Now think about it, for any of you that aren't in a relationship or just begin a relationship, or somebody that may be married for a couple of years, that number that I just said is a staggering number. And here's why that number is staggering. To get to 70 years of marriage, you have to first find somebody that you love, and you have to find them at a very, very young age. And then the both of you have to get married at about 20. And then a couple big things have to happen along the way. Number one, you have to stay in love. Shit, that's 70 years of staying in love. We got a high divorce rate in the world. That's not a given. Just because you got married doesn't mean that thing's going to last. So you got to stay in love for 70 years. And even if you can get past that hurdle, there's another thing that comes along the way. It's called health. And not one of the two of you can get hurt in a car accident, get cancer, get any kind of disease that is going to basically take you out. You have to live to be 90. Both of you have to live to be 90. And if you can do all of that, you can get to 70 years. So when Stan's wife, Joni, passed away, you can imagine the heartache, the void that was gone when he was there. And after that, after Joni left, he would say to me on more than one occasion, I just wish Joni was here. I just wish Joni is here. And at the end, near the end of his life, when he wasn't even going to shows, it became even more acute. It was, Todd, I wish I could be with her right now. And so it was like, whoa, Stan, Stan, she's dead. You're alive. That's a big thing that you just said. And he just got to the point that he knew that his life was entwined with that person on the earth. And when that was taken away, and then eventually his hearing was taken away, and eventually his eyesight was taken away. He got old. He was 95 almost. That he just my wife isn't here. I can't go to conventions. He loved going to conventions, ladies and gentlemen. So if any of you ever had the luxury of seeing him, none of that was an act. Because I was with him way too much, that he was the same person off stage as he was on stage. But when he was done with the convention, he just wanted to go home. His comfort was he knew he got to go home and Joni would be waiting for him. And that would be it. And when that got taken from him, the deterioration started happening. I've said to this day, I mean, there's a lot of crappy stuff that went on in his life near the end from other people, but I think that he just died of a broken heart at the end of it, right? He needed to go see Joni at some point, and he eventually got there. So I only lament on that is that we've all said before, we just be thankful sort of every day, right? Every day you got air in your lungs, right? I don't really have bad days. I don't believe in the word stress. I call it life. I get up every morning and I only have one sort of prayer, and it says, today is not going to be perfect. And I say it every day, and I've been accurate every single day in my life. So I don't get worried that somebody cuts me off, or somebody, honks their horn, or somebody wants to take market shares from me, or somebody doesn't like me on social media, or any of that. I don't care. I don't care, because today I knew was not going to be perfect, and the world isn't obligated to make my life perfect, and it was okay. But in between some of that imperfection, there's a shit ton of cool stuff, right? Right now we're doing it, right? I could talk to a bunch of strangers across the globe and share experiences with them. And why is that bad? Why isn't today awesome day, right? Today is awesome. So, and tomorrow, so I don't know. I guess you can get upset at certain things, because I have a lot of young people come work for me, and I get way worked up over stuff. I go, wow, you thought today was going to be perfect? Is that what I'm hearing? Because somebody did something that wasn't quite up to your standards? Come on, man, lower the bar, right? And if you lower the bar and you think today is going to be imperfect, every now and then you have these great days because nobody cut you off. Nobody sent you a bad email. Nobody overcooked your food, whatever. And all of a sudden you go to bed that night and you go, man, today was a pretty good day. Today was a pretty good day. Stop it. Stop worrying about the bar being so high that everything has to go your way. Don't do it. It's way more enjoyable if you don't. So if you just go, today's going to be average, and then you go, man, today was above average. That's super awesome. Right? Super awesome. Above average, super awesome. If you think it's going to be awesome every day, then above average isn't a good day. Shoot, I can be happy. I can be happy on an above average day. So I guess just a mindset. I just got a mindset that I like life, and I'm not going to bellyache about it too much. So anyways, thanks, Al. Appreciate it.
Thank you, Todd. I appreciate it.
All right. King of Sin, I've been waiting a long time. Might have had to even go to the bathroom. So hopefully their bladder is holding up. King of Sin, you still there? Oh, they are. They did have to go to the bathroom.
No. He had to come back up and give him a second.
Can you hear me?
We can hear you, bud.
I was not in the bathroom.
Oh, okay. I was just a stab in the dark. So.
Can y'all hear me good?
Yeah, sure.
Awesome. First of all, Al Simmons, thank you. And thank you for your service also, and all the other brothers out there. Wow. I wasn't really sure what to say. I got on there. Todd, you're my personal hero. For real. I started collecting comics about 14 and got into yours. You're actually the only reason my parents ever even got to use eBay. In 95 or so, I lost all my comic books, and my mom, for the first time ever, used eBay to order me, I think it was 1 through 25. Like $25 at the time. So
good mom. Cool. Good mom.
Yeah, she's fucking awesome.
This is why, King, when I'm at a convention and somebody comes along and they want an autograph and I see they got one of their parents with them, and there may be like 16, 17, their parent is there, right? I try to acknowledge the parents of just going, man, you don't you don't really want to be here. It's a crowded room. It's a bunch of geeky stuff. You don't understand it, but you're standing here with your kid. And you know what? You're basically saying it's okay. It's okay you like this stuff. So you don't even know sort of how important that is. And the reason is I've seen the opposite. There was one time some kid, I was at a convention and the show was supposed to end at 5 and there was a big lineup and, I don't care. I'll sign until everybody gets a signature. That's why I'm here. And it was probably about 5:30, and the kid brought up his comic book and it was like one of the sort of a little bit more expensive ones, and he gave it to me. I remember his hands were trembling, and he put it down, and I signed it. And just as I was signing it, I could hear this voice coming from off. And this is sort of I'm going to go way back. This is sort of pre-cell phones. And I could hear this voice, Timmy! Timmy! And it got louder and louder. And just as she got up there, she was like, where the hell have you been? I have been sitting outside since 5 o'clock. You said the show was over at 5. I have been there. And as she's sort of reaming out the kid, she grabbed the kid's comic book. I think it was an Amazing Spider-Man 300. So again, that's a pretty good issue. And she took it and she folded it literally in half, and then folded it in half again. This is how much, like, you try folding that kind of a book, a double-sized book, twice, right? That's a tough thing to do. This is how angry Mom was. And then she shoved it into her purse. And each fold that she did, I could see the look of horror on her kid's face. And he burst into tears, and then he left with her. And I never forgot the moment, because I just go, oh, my God, Mom doesn't know that she just put a scar in him someplace, right? I'm sure.
Oh, my God.
I'm sure she's done 1,000 things that were super awesome. So I'm not saying that Mom wasn't super awesome, and maybe she was having a bad day, so I'll give everybody the benefit of the doubt. I'm just saying that there are those moments that if you're not paying attention, like matter, and just like you can do something that matters in a positive way, there are things that you can do that you don't even remember that can have a negative impact lasting. And so you just, in that moment, said to your kid, what's important to you, what you enjoy, and whatever isn't that important to me, right? Come on, we got to go get dinner, because what's more important is that we eat dinner on time. And dinner's more important than what you like. I don't know. I think we need to be careful. Yeah, I think we need to be careful a little bit about the messages we send to anybody at any time, anywhere. Look, I don't even care if people dislike what I do or whatever. Like I don't really get bothered if somebody sort of wants to rant about what I do or my artwork or whatever else. I have sort of the same answer to them. Then go fucking buy what you like. Like I don't control you. This is weird to me. Like, if you don't like it, then go someplace else that you like. This is an odd thing about humanity. We have this access with computers now that we can now sit and type and basically tell people what we don't like. I don't know. It seems like you'd rather be hanging out in places that you do like, right? I've told people before that most people don't know this as a fact, but I'll let some of you know. I don't like Brussels sprouts, right? I don't. I just don't. It's a personal thing. I just don't like them. But here's what I've never done. I've never fucking typed that down on a computer. I've never gone to BrusselsSprouts.com and said, how dare you make Brussels sprouts? I hate Brussels sprouts, I'm going to tell other people that your Brussels sprouts don't taste. I just don't fucking eat the Brussels sprouts. And when I go to the store and there's all the vegetables and I see the Brussels sprouts, I don't go and ask for the manager. How dare you have Brussels sprouts in your store? My family and I do not like them, and we think they're disgusting. I don't. I just walk by. I just walk by the Brussels sprouts and I put in the vegetables or the fruit that I like. And I think art should be vegetables and fruit. If you don't like it and you don't want to consume it, walk on by, just like the grocery store. You don't have to make a big deal about that you don't like it. I don't and oh, by the way, I don't care if you like Brussels sprouts or you don't. It's an odd thing to me. It's an odd thing that people have to tell you at every waking moment at times, like what they like and they don't want, right? My entire theory of life, and this is overly simplistic, I've said it many times, was based on a commercial that I saw when I was a child. And I watched way too much TV. So this is why you never wanted to give me a cell phone. I'd watch TV and this commercial would come on because it was a public service announcement, and it would come about 5, 6, 7, 8, 10 times a day. It seemed like it was on all the time. And this guy came on, big dude, super hairy, brown guy, and he had this cool flat hat. And he looked at me and he pointed to me, and about 6 times a day he said, only you can prevent forest fires. And that was Smokey the Bear. And he gave me the best words of advice ever. And after a while, at first, I thought he was talking about forest fires. Silly me. I go, Con, he's talking about forest fires. I better not make a forest fire. And then the more times he said it, I go, I don't think Smokey's saying that. I think Smokey's saying, Todd, this is your life, and you're in charge of your life. And if you want it to work out, then this is your job. It's nobody else's job. It's your job. And that was it. And so I just want, my personal happiness is my problem. My wanting to find something and eat something and enjoy something and watch something and listen to something that I enjoy is my problem. I don't need to spread that on anybody else, right? So it's like, and oh, by the way, here's how you can solve the forest fire. Don't consume it. Don't buy it. I hate your Spawn comic. Then spend your money on a book you like. I don't know. It seems like I just solved your problem for you in 5 seconds, right? You live in your own body. You hadn't figured this one out? Like I don't know. This is the oddity about humanity. Sometimes there are some head scratching things about us as human beings. So I don't get worked up about it. So I just like I appreciate.
Are you sure?
Appreciate your comment. Could you just step to the side? Somebody behind you might actually like the Brussels sprouts. That's all I'm here for. So go ahead. So
You guys still there? Todd, are you still there?
no, everybody left. You put us all. You know, we all ditched you while you were listening to that. So we put you.
All ditch me.
No, I'm kidding you. All right. Where are you from? Before we let you go, where are you from, King?
Hey, I am originally from Arkansas.
Okay.
In the States. Lived in Texas for a long time, but I retired to Belize at the ripe old age of 43.
Wow.
I'm 46 now. I've been here for 3 years.
Wow, good for you.
And I plan on Todd's new NFT to allow me to retire on a private island here pretty soon.
Wow. Okay. So you're way more enthusiastic about it than I am. God bless you. So,
well, some people say win Lambo. I say win private island.
All right.
I think you get me that right, friend.
Good talking to you, King. Thanks for coming up.
Hey, Todd, I did have one question.
Okay, and then we're going to go to...
You said you couldn't tell one new story, so I really wanted to know what was your favorite day in October, or what was your favorite conversation at the family table in the last...
In October?
Yeah, or any time, man. Tell us a news story. You said you didn't get to tell news stories. Tell me a news story that you really like.
Well, here's what I'll tell you. Is one time at Halloween, they're having a Halloween party down the street where we're at, and my wife went ahead of me. I was running a bit behind. She got all dolled up, and she was in some pretty elaborate, fancy costume. And she got there, and this is going to be weird. She got to this big party. There was a lot of people. There was a lot of people there, and nobody was in costume. So it was a Halloween party, but no costume. Seems like an odd thing to me. So I was getting dressed up. And my wife went in her cow costume, and I was getting dressed up. I think I was Tina Turner or something like that. So I was going in drag. And she phoned me up, and she said, Todd, don't worry about putting on your costume. Nobody's dressed up here. But I go, what are you talking about? She goes, yeah, there's about 200 people. I'm the only one dressed up, and I'm in a cow outfit. And I went, girl, I'm not going to leave you there hanging by yourself. So I'm going to pull up these nylons, strap on these high heels. Didn't walk very good in them. And I go, I'll make sure that you're not the only one they're looking at tonight here. So you'll have some company tonight. So I got dressed up. We had a good time that night. I couldn't quite understand to this day why anybody would have a big Halloween party and not one. And they have kids. There's kids there too. And nobody got dressed up. But at some point, I went and made sure that I took some of the spectacle away from my wife, so that she wouldn't have to suffer it all herself. So sometimes in moments in your life, you can do a little bit of favor by deflecting and taking some of the pain yourself. It actually is good. It takes some of the burden off other people. It makes your skin a little bit thicker too. And we had a good time. I don't know about the other people. I had a good time. And if they thought that we were the odd couple that just moved into the block that actually gets dressed for Halloween, cool. But it's just part of the journey of life. You just have some moments where you just go, okay. Sometimes it can be super fun, and sometimes it's not. But you just deal with all of it with as much of a smile on your face as possible. Because the free food was awesome. Let me just tell you, never had bad free food. So I was go, cry. You guys can look at me all day long. I get free food today. So I was good. I felt good that day. So. All right, you be good, King.
That's awesome, guys. I really appreciate you letting me talk to you, man, for real, Todd. I can't even tell you what happened before I started collecting comic books, but your comments have literally changed my life.
Yeah, well, I appreciate the kind words.
On top of that, on my way out, the Thug Monkeys Val will be in your NFT in full force. And you guys jump into the Thug Monkeys.
All right.
Love you guys, and thank you so much.
It would be good. All right. We're gonna get down to our last two. I'm gonna do two more, and then I've got my daughter waiting for me, my other daughter waiting for me to show her new dog. She got a new dog, so she wants to FaceTime. So I'm gonna do two more here. XXC and Boom, you're up.
Hey, how's it going, guys?
Wow, sorry for the delay. Sorry for you standing up there on stage, awkward like that in front of everybody, just standing there with nothing to do. So
you're all good. I get it. I actually just had a couple questions. One for one of the mods. He was wondering if you're going to do any of the NFTs for the 90s and early 2000 figures. And then I was wondering if you were planning on doing any more of like the 12-inch or bigger statues figures. Since I do collect, I haven't been collecting that long. Spawn #1 was the first time I ever even thought about collecting a comic. And that's all I collect is that and Haunt. So I like anything. Go ahead.
So let me ask you a quick question. Are you talking about like the big physical statues that are, pretty imposing when you have them there? Is that what you're asking?
Yeah. Yeah, like the 12-inch gunslingers and stuff like that you released prior.
Here's the thing. So I know what it is, and we have this conversation a lot. Here's the thing about statues that is I got a bit of a love-hate relationship with them, is like when you get those bigger statues, they're like $299, $399, $499. I mean, it's a lot of money, right? I don't. This is like I've said plenty of times. I always remember the 16-year-old Todd, and I'm like, I would never, no matter how cool it was, even if it was my best character, I would never have been able to buy a $500 figure ever. And so you get locked out of it, and you make it. And I know there's a group of people that are there, and we do it. And we were talking about a statue the other day anyway, so we'll continue to do it. But I'm always asking the question because we're doing some DC Direct stuff now too with some statues, and I know some people saying we could do this and that. But I go, man, but then we have to charge $399. Like, aren't we better off trying to figure out how to come up with a statue that is $89, and then that way instead of buying one for $400, they could buy 5 for the same amount of money, especially if it's the same character and or the same artist that it's based on. I don't know, and they take up a lot of room, the big ones too. So we'll continue to do it. It won't, in all honesty, seeing Boom, it's not going to be our mainstay because I cringe. Literally anytime I have to show anything for over $20. So even when we're doing a vehicle or a 12-inch figure for $39, I get twitchy, right? And it's weird. I guess I'm the only guy because we did at the beginning of the pandemic. I did my first Kickstarter, and it was like $40 for the figure and the book and the box and everything else. And But if you bought all 3 of them with the signature or whatever, then there's 3 different variations on it. It was like, it was like 4 times 4, so $160. And I thought, man, Todd, I felt guilty about it. And then we opened it up, and the $160 thing was the one that got bought by far the most. By far. And I was shocked by it, because I'm like, man, even like I like me and I wouldn't give that much money to me. And so I'm going, man, so they can buy something for 40 and they jump to the 106. It's weird. So maybe I'm just a guy out of time a little bit, where I still keep thinking I don't have any money. I don't know, because I'm always shocked that people are like so willing to give you more than $20 and do it with a smile on your face. And then when we opened it up, I remember on Kickstarter, we opened it up. People were saying, well, I want to buy multiples. And so I think we made one that you could buy the 3-pack twice. So it's 320. Yep. And of the next level up, the 320 was the most bought one. I'm like, what are, like, I guess I'm just, I have too much old school of me go, what? That's just way too much money. But this is where we're at. So you would buy a statue for $200, $300 and be super happy and have it exposed and whatever else. I just have to get past my guilt. It's more of that. I'd rather sell you, instead of a $300, I'd rather sell you 10 30s. Because then at least I feel like at least you got 10 things, right? But we are doing, I just actually was doing some hand painting on it yesterday, actually, of a Hunt action figure. So we got so you don't have to spend $300. You can get it for $20. So
that'd be amazing.
I'll make it easier on you on that one. So
yeah, because I know I had pre-ordered 2 of the 3 sets for the Kickstarter plus an artist proof, just for collection. I have my artist proof in a box still until I can get my game room set up and I can actually display them properly. But every variant of Mortal Kombat Spawn or any of like the Violators, I'm the first one usually somewhere, hey, yeah, take my money and get me these.
Yeah, well, I'm not doing it to take your money. I consider myself to be like a buffet restaurant. In the buffet restaurant, basically, nobody at the buffet expects you to put a little bit of everything and devour everything that's there, right? So what you do is you just lay it all out, different sizes, different price, different sort of ideas, and then you just let the customer come by with their plate and put on the plate what they want to consume themselves, right? And so we just try and figure out whether we can find enough fans on anything that we do, and it'd be the same with the NFT, to allow us to just do it for another day and then another day, and then the days turn into weeks, and the weeks turn into months, and months turn into years, and years turn into decades, and next thing you know, you got a career. So my whole gig is to just have enough success so that I can find enough people like yourself that I can then do it to more. So I'm thankful that people like you have sort of passed through that long 30 years of my career and help me stay an artist for all this time. So thanks.
And I appreciate you for even what we're doing now. This is an awesome experience. Because the last time I got to meet you was in San Diego Comic-Con, 2 years ago or whatever it was, and that you were the only reason why I went. So it's awesome. It's a pleasure to do this.
Right, but it's way cheaper to do it here because you got to get an airplane ticket, got to get a hotel room, you got to have your food at the restaurant, you got to get a ticket, and then you got to get in. This is way cheaper. What are you talking about?
Yeah, and there's less.
Way more efficient. Yeah,
people.
This is cool.
I can move. It's not crowded.
And then you got and then $400. You didn't have to get on the airplane. You could spend $20 on the Hunt action figure. There, win-win. You got lots of money left over. You got your Hunt figure. We got to talk. Boomo. Good. It hadn't been working good. Who knew that all we needed was a pandemic to make you sort of save money and get everything you wanted? Shoot.
Who knew?
Just quick note, while y'all were talking up here, we passed 10K members.
Oh, what?
Yeah, 10,000 members in the Discord in 3 days.
Look at, somebody was telling me that one of the big ones is like 20 or something. So we got halfway there in 3 days. So maybe we'll.
Well, look what you did with your Kickstarter. What was it in the first day or two that you already surpassed by? Like, you got this, Todd.
Yeah, no, we'll do it. Come on, don't worry. We'll do it. Even if we don't, there'll be enough of us that we'll still have a good time. It's okay. We don't need everybody, right? So.
Yep. And I appreciate it, and I'll let you get back to it. But
all right,
thank you so much for everything.
Thank you for your patience.
Yep, thank you.
All right. So we're going to go to Matt Maz. This will be my last one because, like I said, I got to jump on the phone with my daughter here, everybody. So I appreciate you guys all hanging out. We'll do it again. Maybe we'll even figure out how to schedule something so people will know in advance so everybody can maybe plan a little bit.
Yeah, we have a calendar and stuff where we can discuss that and just mark them up there and people can be ready.
All right. So Oz the Watcher and the what is that? Tao Hack Club Demon Truth, somebody below him, and unfortunately we will see if we can't get you next time around. But this is going to be my last one, and then I'm going to have to jet.
Hi, Todd. Can you hear me?
No, I can't.
You answered me, so I'm guessing you can.
Yeah, that was Winnie the Pooh. That was, remember, is like, is anybody there? And then they say no, and it's like, oh, bother. And then it's like, but how could somebody say they're not there if there's... So anyways, that was just a Winnie the Pooh reference. So.
Well, fantastic. Well, first of all, I'm extremely grateful to be on stage speaking with you. I've been a huge fan for many, many years, and it's been a long time that I've been hoping and wishing to meet you. I've never got a chance to go out to a Comic-Con, and so this is incredible. And one thing I'll say is, I came up here on stage to ask a very self-serving question, but after hearing everything you've talked about tonight, all of the life advice that you've given, just hearing the story about Stan Lee and his wife, I feel horrific if I would ask a self-serving question. So instead, I'd really like to ask, what was the best piece of advice that you got as a creator when you were coming up through the ranks? And then what is your best piece of advice for life in general for the rest of us?
Well, I don't know I have anything worth sort of listening to. So, but in hindsight, the best words of advice I got that used to aggravate me at the time, but in hindsight, actually was the right thing, was when I was trying to hand in my portfolios and show people and look at it. They would say something like, "Yeah, it's not bad, but you need to draw some more." Now it seems overly simplistic what they just said, and it's like, that's it. That's all you got for me? I got to draw some more. But it actually, within that simple sentence, is a lot. They basically were saying, in a kind way, you weren't ready yet. You needed to learn your craft a little bit better. You needed to practice more. And they put it on me as to whether I was going to actually learn to get better. And so art, I think, is like learning a second language. I don't know, if you try to learn Spanish or French or Japanese and you practice it 6 hours a day, you're going to get pretty fluent in about 6 months to a year, and you're going to get, for sure, you're going to get better. But if you don't do it that much, you only do it like 10 minutes once a week, I don't know that you're going to be speaking Japanese very well, even 5 years from now. So when you walk away from them saying that you just need to do it more, repetition is good for anything you do. And how do we know? Because there's nobody here that is can say that any job they've ever had, that they were the best on day one. It's actually the opposite. We were the most intimidated, the least confident, the least skilled at it, had the least amount of knowledge, because it was day one. I don't care whether it was waiting tables or working at the job you're currently at right now that you've been at for 10 years. We weren't very good at it. Drawing the same way. So it forced me to say, because I can have two kids in front of me show me their portfolio, and I can give the same advice. You guys both need to do some more drawing. Here's what I know. The two people in front of me, if they have the same skill set, if one draws for 1 hour a week and the other one draws 3 hours a day, I'm going to put my money on the 3 hour a day person is going to get better, because they're going to just do it more and more and more and more, and you're going to just learn to it. I believe, my wife doesn't think this is true, but I do. I think I can make any human being a competent artist if they give me enough of their time, because it's just like teaching a language. I think I can teach you enough moves that you could be average. You might not be super, but you might be average. She doesn't think that's true. Of course it is. So I can get there. The word of advice, if I don't know, if I mean, again, it's sort of heavy. Like, what are you going to say, Todd? The thing that I would, and going back to sort of the Smokey the Bear a little bit, if I try when I'm up on a stage to encourage people to get their ideas out, and I give them all the reasons why they should and all the examples, and I try to make myself an example, because I think I'm at best above average, and I'm just intellectually not that smart and talented. I'm in the middle of the pool, but somehow through grit and determination, I was able to sort of climb past other people that I think have way more brains and way more talent, because I don't think they sort of hustled nearly as much, and they didn't sort of want it as much as I wanted it. And so with that I know that, like, the person who has to advocate for you the most has to be you. This and although what I just said seems like overly simplistic, it's not. Like, I run into people and sit there and they show me their art, and I go, hey, well, what do you think about the art? And go, well, I sent off some samples and they said no, and I don't know if I should send some more and whatever. And to me, where I'm at, I'm just like, dude, if you don't give a shit about it, and you don't give a fuck about breaking into the business, why do I? Why, like, to some point, why are you showing me your portfolio, right? You want me to care about you getting a job more than you do, right? This is on you. This is on you. So it's the person that has to advocate for you every day of your life is you. And if you don't have the confidence in yourself, then nobody on earth is going to basically step up for you. And to some degree, nor should they. Nobody has to wake up in the morning and say, you know what, my job today is to make Todd McFarlane's day better. There's only one person that has that goal, me. Not even my wife. My kids, no. Nobody has that goal. I have to fight for today for myself. So I get it. You think Tom Cruise, when he went, you think the first time he went out for an acting job that he got it? No, he might have gotten rejected 100 times. And then finally when they said, yeah, it was so that he could stand in a crowd and be behind there. And he didn't even get a speaking line. And then eventually he said, well, you can be in front of the crowd. And eventually they're going, well, you're kind of handsome. We'll put you in the corner here and we'll give you one line. We'll let you be the elevator guy. And then eventually, and he got to where he got to, or whatever actor or celebrity, whoever you want to do. Right. So we've all been through this. And if you can't handle somebody saying no to you, you're not built for it, right? But I just have this theory. Assume the answer is going to be no, and you'll never be disappointed. Assume it will be no. Assume you're going to get rejected, and you will never, ever be disappointed. Because when they reject you, then instead of being disappointed that they rejected you, you can walk out of that room that day and go, shit, nailed it. Nailed it. I knew it. I knew it when I walked in there. They weren't going to give me the job. Nailed it. Nailed it. And you get rejected 10 times in a row. Nailed it. 10 times in a row. You're on a hot streak of rejection now. You're feeling pretty good because you're almost like you can predict the future. And guess what happens? Someday somebody's going to break your streak. You know why? Because they're actually going to give you the job and they're not going to reject you. And then you're going to be walking out that room and they're going to stop you. And they're going to say, hey, Todd, yeah, where are you going? Oh, I'm just leaving. Because in my mind, I'm going, I'm going to get rejected. And they go, no, we have a job. We want to give you the job. And at that moment, two things should go through your mind. Number one, you should be a little bit pissed off they just broke your streak. Because you had a long streak of getting rejected. And you were nailing it. So you were on a hot streak. There's something about being on a hot streak is always sort of good. And the other one is you got a job. So when your streak got broke, that you were proud of, that you nailed every time, the consequence of that is that they gave you a job. It's a good day. It's a good day. So I don't know. All of our moms and dads, I have the opposite theory on a lot of things. All of our moms and dads, raise the bar, raise the bar, raise the bar. I don't believe it, ladies and gentlemen. I don't believe it. I lower the bar of your expectations. When you go into that interview, give it the best you got. Give it 100%. I'm not saying lower your interview, but assume you're not going to get it so that you don't build yourself up for 2 weeks going to that job interview. And when you don't get it for a week, you're in depression. Don't set yourself up. It hurts too much. Do it the opposite way and watch how it works. I thought I wasn't going to get it. And then every now and then they phone back and they say, yes, you got the job. And it is a glorious day. The other way, if you think you're going to get it all the time, you never have the glorious day. And all you get is heartache in between the rejections. So, I don't know, fight for yourself and assume that it's going to take a while to get there, right? No harm, no foul.
Absolutely amazing. Thank you for that, Todd. It's so hard to see the forest through the trees when you're deep in the weeds, right? But this perspective, this way of thinking about things is just an amazing thing. So thank you for your time this evening. You've been so very generous. Thank you for your incredible stories that have changed so many lives over the years. And I'm very much looking forward to meeting you someday at a Comic-Con.
Yeah. And let me add one thing to what I just said too. We all have personalities. So the one thing that I have learned as I've gotten older is that what comes so easily to me, people say, Todd, why are you like you are? It's like, I don't know. I just came out of the womb. I just was Todd. It's just my personality. So I don't expect that everybody's going to have the same personality. And in some cases, I don't actually even endorse people having my personality because it can be exhausting to be around. And I think that people are way more balanced if they're not me. So I'm not advocating for people to always do. What I usually hope when I'm talking to a group of people is that there may be 3 or 4 in a group that maybe do have like-minded personality, and it may reach them. The message may reach them. But I have my own children that I would call passive, and where I'm completely aggressive. And I think it will make them a better human being because of it. I think they'll be well liked. I think they'll be a good neighbor. I think they'll be a good community person. I think that they'll put smiles on people's faces, and they won't think that it's a war every day. I'm Braveheart. I'm William Wallace. I think I'm at war every day, and I'm built for it. I'm ready for war. Most people don't, and nor should they, go through life thinking that every day is a fight. But at some point, the pacifists, are on one side of the room, and the biters on the other side of the room. And I have to give everybody their personality. And so I know that everybody's not going to be their own boss. Everybody's not going to be an entrepreneur because it's not a comfort space for people. And so cool. But I know that there's just enough of them out there that just need just a little bit of a push, a little bit of a nudge to say, you can do it. Come on, you can do it. And sometimes when I'm up on stage, I also end my encouragement speech by becoming a CEO. And I've been giving you my fatherly advice, and some of you have been sitting here and kind enough to listen to it. And you're thinking about it. Some of you maybe, hopefully, a couple of you might be inspired to do it. Some of you may be doubting yourself and saying, well, yeah, but you got some breaks and whatever else. And I end some of my panels where I walk to the other side of the stage and I say, okay, that was Dad. That was Todd, Dad, brother, uncle, encouraging you, cheerleader, telling you should do it. I'm going to put on another hat and I'm going to be a CEO, and I'll do it to you right now. Everything I just said, I hope the fuck you don't do it. I hope all of you don't do it. You know why? Because if none of you do it, I never have to compete with any of you. I don't have to compete with your intellect. I don't have to compete with your skill. I don't have to compete with your tenacity. I don't have to compete with any of it. You're going to make it easy on this old man. I'd rather be in a race with 4 people instead of 400. So make my day easy. Talk yourself out of it. Everything I just told you today, make an excuse as to why you can't do it. So, and you're going to make my life easy every day, right? Or you can take the attitude that I would have taken, which is, screw you, old man. I'm going to knock you off the stage. Here I come. Get ready for me, right? Why not me? Every one of you should wake up every day and ask yourself, why not me? Why not me? So.
It's absolutely incredible. And I'll leave you with this, Todd. Unfortunately, the bad news is you nudge me in the right direction. I'm running after this in a big way. So thank you so much.
Matt just knocked me off the stage. So, but here's the thing, Matt, I love it. I love the determination, but I'm competitive too. So now it's like, dude, you're going to have to go, right? I'm not going to make this easy on you. Right. So, and I'll give you a silly story to end it, and then I'm going to go here. I used to do this stuff, like my wife would have the kids out in the back, and the neighbors would come, and they would play, and some of the moms would bring their kids, and I would go and play, like, basketball with them or do some games with them, and at times the moms would watch me, and they'd go, Todd? Yeah? Could you come here for a minute? I'm like, uh-huh. What are you doing? What do you mean? What are you doing with the kids? Well, I'm playing basketball with them. No, but I'm watching you. What are you doing? I'm watching how aggressive you are, and you're slam dunking it. And I'm like, uh-huh. Well, why? Why am I stuffing your 5-year-old kid? Because I'm fucking better than him. That's why. You want me to make it so that kid thinks that he's better than me at 5? Shoot. Not on my watch. So I'm going to play hard, and that kid's going to have to play hard. And guess what? He's going to have to play hard at 6 and 7 and 8 and 10 and 12, and eventually he's going to be better than me. And the day he beats me is going to be the day he's better than me. But I'm not going to let him have the luxury or the delusion for one day that he's better than he is because I played soft on him, and that he can only run at half speed, and he'll run a race at half speed. I'm giving him a false sense of hope. Because I get mom and dad might run at half speed, but when he gets out in the real world, everybody's going at full speed. And he's going to go, what? Man, I could only go at half speed, and I was always winning the races, not out in the real world. So I remember with clarity, ladies and gentlemen, my dad, he was a pretty good athlete. I would race him, and he would go 100%. 100%. And my dad's a kind man, not because he was an Army cadet guy and wanted to teach. He was just going, no, I'm faster. I'm faster than you, Todd. And then I remember the day. I remember the day with clarity. I beat him. I was 15 years old. I beat my dad in a foot race. And I could see the look in my dad's face, and it was twofold. It was, one, he was proud of me that I beat him because he knew it was legit, because he didn't let up for 1 second. And the sun finally passed him, because I gave it everything I had. It was a legit win. And 2, he was a little pissed off at himself because he lost to his 15-year-old son. And you know what his words were to me that day? Son, I want to see you do it again tomorrow. He wanted to see whether it was a fluke. And I just got faster and stronger as my dad got a little bit older, and it wasn't a fluke. And he just was like, okay, but he was okay with it because he was like, the kid's just legitimately better than me now. Cool. And he was proud when I could do it on a consistent basis. Good. But if he'd been going half-assed, when was I ever going to learn the lesson of how fast I could actually run? What was my max? So, I don't know. So you come, Matt. So you come, dude, because I'm going to go 100%. So you better give it all you got, too. Let's see what you got.
It sounds fantastic to me. I'm all in, Todd. Thank you so much.
All right, you be good.
Thank you. You too.
All right, everybody. Appreciate you hanging out for as long as you did. Hopefully, some of it was of interest. We didn't bore you too much. We'll see if we can't schedule something a little more less sporadic or something like that. But I appreciate you guys sort of hanging out for today. So go out there and conquer the world. And I'll be proud of you.
Thank you for giving us your time, boss.
All right. You be good.